You scroll through a storefront, click Buy Now, and watch your digital cart fill up with movies, video games, and software. It delivers an immediate rush, along with the distinct feeling that you've just added a new piece of media to your permanent collection. But those buttons are heavily disguised. When you pay for a digital good today, you are rarely buying the item itself. You are purchasing a temporary, revocable license to access a file on someone else's server. Meanwhile, the tangible alternatives are being cleared out. Physical movie sales have dropped 86% since their mid-2000s peak, and major retailers like Best Buy have officially pulled DVDs and Blu-rays from their store shelves entirely. We eagerly traded the permanence of a disc for the convenience of an instant download. We stopped buying property, and we started paying for the privilege of long-term rentals. Researchers at Wharton have studied this shift, focusing on a concept called psychological ownership. They found that humans subconsciously assign less value to digital goods, specifically because those goods lack any material presence in the real world. Biologically, we rely on touch and physical manipulation to establish a true sense of possession. You hold a book, you flip through a crate of vinyl records, and your brain registers that the object belongs to you. Tech companies understand this instinct perfectly. They design digital platforms with bookshelves and libraries to mimic the tactile world, convincing our brains that we are building a personal collection when we are actually just looking at an interface of rented licenses. Our biological urge to collect is being redirected into a system that secures our payment while legally withholding the transfer of property. To pull this off, the industry relies on two specific mechanisms: digital rights management, or DRM, which are the technical locks placed on files, and end-user license agreements, or EULAs, which are the legal contracts attached to them. Together, these tools moved the rights of the consumer out of property law, which governs permanent physical ownership, and into contract law, where a single corporation gets to dictate the terms of your purchase. When an end-user license agreement is drafted, it is entirely one-sided. These documents grant rights holders authority to alter or terminate access to your purchases. The formatting ensures you have no practical defense. The terms are dense and presented at the exact moment of purchase. You click Agree with zero room for negotiation or walk away completely. These restrictive terms effectively rewrote the rules of ownership in favor of the rights holders. You can see the consequences hitting the gaming industry right now. While a physical cartridge sitting in a drawer works decades later, digital gamers routinely lose access to entire libraries of purchased titles the moment a publisher lets a server license expire or shuts down a storefront. The shift is also straining public libraries. Publishers now require many ebooks to automatically self-destruct after a set number of checkouts, like major publisher HarperCollins enforcing a 26 checkout limit, forcing libraries to continually repurchase the exact same digital file. Then there is the cost to your privacy. Because licensed services operate over networks, your reading and viewing habits are constantly monitored. Companies like Adobe use their software to track exactly which page you are on and how many seconds you spend reading it. A digital license removes your ability to independently possess art. Instead, it transforms the media you consume into a surveillance tool used to monitor your private habits. Urgent mechanism, and this mechanism has now breached the boundary of entertainment. Through the Internet of Things, this exact same licensing trap is infecting physical hardware. In October 2023, the smart car company WM Motor filed for bankruptcy reorganization. Shortly after the financial collapse, the company's servers went dark. The vehicles were sitting physically intact in driveways, but the server shutdown meant owners were suddenly locked out of their Bluetooth keys and remote control functions. The cars were rendered nearly useless because the software managing them vanished. When physical objects require remote software verification to function, your ownership of the hardware is an illusion. When the digital license dies, the physical machine dies with it. A purely digital landscape forces total reliance on platform servers and kills the secondhand market. Without a physical product to resell or trade, publishers gain total control over the price and availability of every item in your library. It also introduces the mechanics of silent censorship. Since companies only have to swap out a single file on a server to update a piece of media, streaming platforms can quietly edit or alter a movie, episode, or book without ever notifying the consumer. If we let physical media vanish entirely, we leave no permanent, unaltered artlets behind. We accept a system where art and culture can be quietly edited overnight. The consumers are starting to recognize the trap. There is a growing rebellion fighting back against digital-only ecosystems with their wallets. Boutique physical media labels like Arrow and Shout Factory are seeing a boom in business. They are actively rescuing and restoring decaying films, pressing them onto high-quality 4K discs for audiences who demand permanent copies. Digital consumers are pushing back too. Organizations like the Video Game History Foundation are lobbying to preserve older titles, while platforms like Bandcamp are offering DRM-free audio files that you can download, back up, and own forever. If you want to protect your privacy and actually own the products you pay for, the solution is straightforward. You have to consciously choose to support physical media and DRM-free formats, and keep the things you buy in your own hands.